The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money.
More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How
Good
you doing?
morning.
How you doing?
What's going on?
Can you hear me down there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're here in the studio.
Yeah. And I'm on the remote studio today. Just I don't know what's going on this week. I think it's just the end of the school year, and it just seems like there is not enough time to do anything or everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And I woke up this morning literally like I had just left like the world's longest bachelor party. Like I was just completely hungover, and I realized this week because I've been so busy, I don't think I've had like a single drink of anything all week. It's throwing my system off. I'm all jacked up.
Oh, there's the problem.
That's the dealio right there. I got to fix that. So we got a full load of stuff to do today. How are you doing? I hope you're had a good week, and at least the weather's a little cooler today. At least looking cooler outside. I don't know
it's definitely cooler.
Yeah, so that'll be. I am not ready for the hundreds pluses yet. I gotta admit that I could hold off on that a little bit if we need to. Hey, we do the same thing every Saturday. We try to get the show started in the same manner, and a complete and utter disregard for public broadcasting. We let the man Christopher Laud come on for about 30 seconds and tell us what's on in his world, and it's usually something around soccer or boxing.
Hey, how'd you guess that?
But I'm going to take a complete leap of faith and figure that it's one of those two. What's happening there, big boy?
Doing pretty good. Probably saw that tonight's game, Sacramento Republic, is sold out, which would be the second in 3 games, averaging around 18,500, which if you look at the MLS attendance, it's beating about half of the MLS team's attendance right now. And that would be, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent, that would be like the Stockton Ports outdrawing a bunch of Major League Baseball teams. So something to be pretty proud of here in Sacramento. And it's going to be kind of weird when they go to that 8,000 seat stadium, and there's going to be another game at Hughes Stadium. I don't want to question Warren Smith because I think he's a lot smarter than me, but it's almost like, oh my God, maybe they underestimated how many people we could get here, because I think we're looking at around the same numbers all season long.
Yeah, so how does that work if you have 6,000 season ticket holders and 8,000 seats? Not going to be a whole lot of seats for others.
Exactly.
Well, I still contend that
it's better for people to be looking for tickets
right.
Instead of not selling out.
Exactly. I contend that I'd much rather, if I'm a sports owner or even a sports fan, I'd rather be there every game, 8,000 and 1 people every single game, full. Rather than it's going to, I think, like all things, it's new. It's like any restaurant in Placer County or anywhere, something new opens up, everybody goes there, and then it'll settle down. I think. I hope not. I hope they sell out. But either way, it just shows you the utter lack of opportunities for people to get their fill of professional sport or pro sporting events. So and just the great support. I mean, if you look around, you look at any publication for around the country regarding pro sports. I mean, Sacramento's reputation for supporting a team regardless of its record, or in spite of its record sometimes, is well known. I mean, this is an area that supports its franchises, and again, I think it's just because we don't have a lot of them. I mean, we don't have pro baseball here, we don't have pro football, we don't have pro hockey. There's just not a lot of things that we have. So that which we do a good job supporting it. So I'm with Chris. I think we end up getting an MLS team maybe sooner than later, or
The
maybe they move.
real good news is Orlando. One of their things was we had such great attendance for the league that Sacramento's in, and they were averaging 6,000 fans a game.
Maybe they can move the Orlando team here.
Yeah, well, they're getting an MLS team. There's like some talk about there's a team in LA, Chivas USA. They don't have the attendance. It's kind of they're having real problems with the community, and so that's also a type of thing. Well, maybe if that's a team that's not wanted down there, maybe Sacramento would take them over.
Yeah, bring them up. It'd be easy. Bring them up by 5. John and we can rent a couple trucks and bring them up. I mean,
That's right.
How much equipment do you need to move a soccer team? Okay, John, you grab that bag of balls.
I got the ball.
I'll grab the orange slices in the Capri Sun, and I'll meet you up in Sacramento. Let's go. So that'll be fairly easy. I wish someone would bring a hockey team. Well, we need a building first. I'm holding out for hockey. I know there's like 3 of them in Florida. Now, who watches hockey in Florida? We could get one of them up here, sure. I saw. Speaking while we're on the tip of sports, there's 2 things I had. One of them is that I think John and I are actively going to become now golfers. Or would you call that golf, John, or would you call it more like someone else labeled it kind of like, almost like polo?
I just want to get one of those skateboards.
I know the thing. So if you haven't seen it yet, Chris, you can pull it up too. Maybe there's an official title for it. It's on YouTube. I caught it on Facebook, but it was a YouTube video of Laird Hamilton, and Laird is a real famous surfer and just kind of a well-known outdoor guy. And I'm guessing that that's kind of a preview of a product he designed. But I mean, John, how would you describe it? I mean, it's
kind of like a windsurf strap in with your feet, with a little elongated longboard, with a remote control of some sort.
Yeah. So I mean, when you first look at it, you kind of think of like the Back to the Future, air surf skateboard, but it's kind of a skateboard strapped to what looks like a kind of a moon roller, system that goes over the grass. And
I'm
I don't know.
Surprised you didn't order one yet, Jeff.
Well, they didn't give me. There wasn't a place to order one.
Oh, okay.
But it was
looking at the website now. It looks like it's called Golf Board.
Okay. And are you actually able to? Can you buy one, or they give you any prices on it?
I can't see any prices on anything.
So I'm wondering, Chris, look at it a little closer. Do you think is that something you could use on the pavement, or you think is that just kind of a grass only type of a design as they got it?
It looks like a skateboard, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to go on pavement.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And I started thinking about that, John, after I sent you that link last night. And really, so what he's doing is he's driving around at a fairly good clip with I don't know if it's a driver in his hand or maybe some kind of a metal wood. And literally, like polo, he's rolling up to the ball at speed, crack, he hits it, and he just keeps rolling. And I'm thinking, first of all, you look at it, you go, oh, that's funny. That's a funny concept, and you realize when the first person who whipped out a snowboard on a ski slope, someone probably Mr. Burton, I think it was.
Right,
someone
so what an idiot, right?
They looked at him and go, that's kind of a funny concept, but that'll never really catch on.
Well, I think if you take that concept he's using there and then use, what was it, the 10-foot circumference
the
golf hole?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
There's a lot of golf courses that are not making a lot of money around the country, and someone's going to adopt that system, I'm sure, that game, or at least maybe maybe in the morning you do regular golf while it's cool. In the afternoon, you haul ass down the course on the new golf cart thing there. But anyway, I think it will bring people back to the course. I would, if there was someone doing it here, I would go do it.
Absolutely.
All right, got a price for you.
All right, okay, let's go. How much?
$4,000.
Oh,
that's an expensive skateboard.
Yeah. Well, John, you're diminishing the product. It is either a really small motocross bike with just your feet.
But they say with the approved credit, you could get one for less than $160 a month.
I'm in.
Well, there you go. See, and people don't really care what the price is. They care how much down and how much per month.
That's right.
So that's all they really care about. So $160 a month. So yeah, if you get in a couple of games a month, where I see, think of all the kids. I don't know if you can ride that on the street or not. There's probably some rules there, but think about going to school on your new skateboard, John. That would be sweet.
That'd be awesome.
I would leave my bicycle behind. I leave my car behind and just ride that to work. Can you pull up on your loan appointment? How you doing? I'm here with my new skateboard though. So Chris, what's it called again? I want to write that down.
Golf board.
How did I possibly remember? See, I either need to start drinking or stop, one of the two. The golf board. So check it out if you are not familiar with the golf board. And speaking of golf, I had no intention of going this direction, but what the heck? So I was looking at reading through the newspaper this morning. This is pretty amazing. There was a kind of an article on the golf tee. I mean, think about that. Who actually stops to think about a golf tee?
Wow.
And go into the history of the golf tee? But it's pretty amazing that it goes back. This is the anniversary. I guess maybe it's this week. 1921. William Lowell created the Reddy tee, R-E-D-D-Y, Reddy tee in 1921. One-piece implement of solid wood, painted red at the top so it could easily be found and cleverly named. This guy paid a couple of pro golfers to kind of go out and use it. And in his first year of sales, it was patented in 1925, he made $100,000 in sales. In 1925,
wow.
That's a tremendous amount of money in 1925. Today, so how many tees do you think can be produced in one day? I'll get John and Chris's semi quiz answer. How many tees can be produced in one day? And while you're thinking about that, I'll give you an example. An 8-foot log that is about 10 inches in diameter will produce about 3,000 tees out of just one strip of wood. So how many tees in a day can a facility make, do you guys think? What do you got, Chris?
I'm going to guess 50,000.
Okay, what do you think, John?
I'm going to go 110,000.
A 8-foot log, 8 to 10 inches in diameter, will produce 3,000 tees. The factory can turn out more than 2 million tees a day. Your average moderate-sized country club will spend in the neighborhood of about $1,000 a year on tees, which they consider amenity as much as they consider water out of the fountain. So there you go. The tee was started in 1921, and they produce about 2 million a day. And if I'm golfing, they're going to have to crank that up a little bit because I don't hit the ball, I hit the tee, and then I can't find the tee after I hit it. So there you go. There's your golf fact for the day. You got the golf board and the golf tee, and that is my tribute to Vince Mastrocco today in an effort to bring golf talk back on the radio. I have just done the first full segment of golf, so Vince can be happy or can be completely embarrassed. One of the two. I'm not sure which. Hey, we've got a couple quiz questions, and I want to get into some other things today too. I've got if you follow the show, and I'm sure you're all going through the same thing too. My daughter got one of her acceptance letters to college, one that she did not elect to go to. But I'm going to kind of show you the breakdown of what a private university runs, because I've never actually seen one of these in person, and I actually have one now, and I'm glad she's not going there. And some other things as well that have come up. Great news for the city of Vacaville. We're going to cover that. And also some not so good news in Seattle that kind of mirrors what's going on here in in San Francisco. So we'll cover all those things today. John, let's get out our first quiz question of the morning. Do you have one that's kind of related around college? You got anything like that way you can?
I do. So question here is some students, I guess, have already taken this year. Also, some will be taking it in the summer. When was the first administration of the SAT test, the Scholastic Aptitude Test? When was it first administered?
What year?
What year was the SAT test first administered?
That sounds to me like one of those things that's kind of like one of those modern age deals, but I don't know. That could be a quiz, a trick question. I'm not sure. So there's first question of the day, 339-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. I think is your text machine working there, John?
No. I have a please sign in button.
Please sign in. Well, Chris can get you signed in maybe. 339-1140. Nope, no text. So you got to call today, and Chris can get your name and address. We've got some Roundtable Pizza. Speaking of successful franchises, we got some Sacramento Rivercats baseball tickets. And this would be the weekend to go because it's going to be nice and cool this weekend. It'd be a great time to sit out there.
And they are leading the Pacific Coast League.
Beautiful. I'm not sure if they're playing this weekend. And actually, well, we'll check that out too. So John's quiz question, what year did they first administer the SAT test? This is Talkin' Money. John Fotorero's in the studio. I'm Jeff Tarbell out on remote. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' Money!
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Yes, we are. How you doing? Happy Saturday to you. We all did something nice for your mother last Sunday. We've got a quiz question hanging out there. I don't know. Did we get an answer or something even close to that, Johnny?
We did. All
right. So your quiz question was something about the SAT test.
Yes. When was it first administered? And what do you think, Jeff?
Well, I would have guessed, it would have been like one of those 60s things, where we got to start making sure our kids are doing well. So I probably would have guessed somewhere in the 1960s.
Yeah, the answer is 1926.
Oh, geez.
And that was the first SAT score. The first actual college board exam was administered in 1901. And
by the Pony Express? Or
and that was all essay exams.
Oh, man. So 1926. See, I did see that there's more than 1.6 million kids took the test last year. So that's a lot of peeps. You know what? I honest to God, I cannot remember what my SAT score was, and that probably tells me that it probably wasn't worth remembering. But do you remember what your score was?
I do not. I know it was fair.
Fair. Mine just said you're probably likely to end up either in radio or in the mortgage business. So just move out of the class and get out. And what do you know? I ended up in neither. So you got a winner? Do they want some baseball or pizza?
They're going to River Cats game.
They're going to River Cats. Beautiful, beautiful. Speaking of colleges, as many of you, I am sure, have in the past or currently or will soon have a child that is applying to various schools. And we've talked about this a lot because, obviously it's on my mind as I've got one daughter going to college in the fall, which I cannot believe. And I got two more that are coming up behind her. So we've talked, and I think it was even last week, I had a great call from a listener said, it's just, why wouldn't you go to, to junior college the first 2 years and get some of that, basic stuff just out of the way? And it is, and frankly, it's just so much easier to transfer. If you can go to a school first and transfer into the school you want, it is, for whatever reason, I don't get it, but it is easier. But anyway, here I got one letter yesterday from a school, one university. This is a private university, and I would say that my oldest daughter probably applied to, I'm going to say 6 or 7 colleges, maybe a little bit more than that. And they tell you when if you get some pre-counseling regarding colleges, they tell you pick your dream college. I mean, go ahead and make an application to it. And then go the other direction and pick some that are slam dunks to get into, and then go in between, and it kind of gives you some choice. The problem is a lot of these schools, they take so many applications in that they put you off, and then the school that you need to go to or you want to go to, they need an answer usually by May 1st, and then you start getting replies after May 1st. This letter, for example, was dated May 2nd and sent to my daughter. She'd already committed to another school. But check this out, John. So this is kind of breaks down the financial aid that they're offering you, and most schools will offer you some sort of an award or they can. I mean, most of the ones that I've seen for her have offered her something, either based on her grades or something. But this is the letter. We're proud to offer you the tuition award of $8,600 per year. And you go, oh, that's good. And we'll let you apply for a loan, which you can pay back for another $5,500 a year. So your total assistance available, $14,100. You say, okay, $14,000. That's got to be pretty close to half the annual tuition. Now, then they break down your estimated and direct charges and indirect charges. So here you go, folks. If this doesn't spur you back into getting your basic education somewhere else and then transferring it. Remember, mind you, this is not grad school. This is just, going in and taking your first basic years of English and math and all the other basic classes. Tuition and fees for the year, $45,507. Room and board, $16,685. Books and supplies, $999, because $1,000 would sound way too damn high.
That's right.
Travel, $952. See above. Miscellaneous, $1,851. Total estimated direct charges, $62,192. Total estimated indirect costs, $3,802. So in my quick math and my small brain, that's damn near $66,000, of which we'll give you 14, of that you'll pay 5 back. So they're really giving you $8,600. So 66 minus 88, about $58,000 for 1 year of basic education at a private university, thereby cueing and triggering my celebration that she decided this was not the school for her.
No doubt.
Making it much easier for me to determine this was not the school for her. But so there you go. There's one private university, and I have no idea, quite honestly, whether this is in line with all private universities. I'm guessing this one happens to be back east, and I'm sure it is on the top of the list in terms of expense. But there you have it. And I could see, I certainly could see that if you have completed your college education anywhere, and you now need to get a graduate degree for 2 years in something that really, really turns some people's heads, that maybe a private school like that with that kind of a bill maybe is and I'm using the word in finger quotes, maybe, is something that would be put you on the top of the job list somewhere else. But now it's very easy to understand now that the amount of school debt. So if you did this, John, for, let's say you had to go 4 years of college and then 2 years of grad school, which in a lot of cases you do, 6 times 6, $360,000. And by the way, that doesn't really include anything outside the college. It does include some food. $360,000 to turn around and get a job that'll pay, on average, what, $40,000 or something?
Right.
If you did the math on it, folks, you wouldn't do it. Which is why I did not. Nobody. Of course, I never really held a real job. I mean, that's part of the problem. But nobody's ever asked me to see my degree, and I'm not sure they've even asked me whatever. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're going to do, why you're going to do it. But
it's all about the experience, Jeff.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, there is no doubt that there are some schools that you're paying for as much the facility and the the experience as you are the actual degree. And I agree. I get it. And hey, if $60,000 a year is no skin off your nose, then hell, send your kid there.
Send 3 of them there.
Send them all. They can stay home. I'll go.
That's right.
But in my household, $60,000 a year for one kid is excessive by a long shot. So anyway, that was my one thing that was sitting out. I thought was kind of interesting because I've never actually. That's the first one that's come in, and I'm glad it came in. I wish they'd sent it to you before your kids said yes. That would be much more helpful. One other quick note, because I just got mine in the mail today, and I had some clients email me this week. It is now time for your supplement, at least in Placer County, and I'm sure other counties as well. These supplemental tax bills are now coming out, and you're getting them for a variety of reasons. So I've got 2 in my hand. One in my left hand says delinquent, which means I obviously didn't get the first one, or I just chose to ignore it. One of the two. But I have a little rental house in Roseville, and they have sent me a supplemental tax bill for $106 for the year. And this one is for the fact that the counties are now going back to their records and saying, you know what, the market's picking back up, and we're going to remember a couple of years ago when we lowered your taxes because the values were going down. Well, voila, here comes the rebound effect of that, and your property values are going up, although I dispute that in this house. And we're going to raise your taxes again, your property taxes back up toward where they were. So keep an eye out for these, because there's a big. This one was pretty. Maybe this one's yellow because I didn't pay the first one. But this one says this bill will not be sent to your lender. And then the other one I got was for, we actually made a couple of improvements to this house, and they were just kind of catching up on the value. So if you get these, for those of you who have impound accounts and your taxes, your taxes and insurance are part of your payment, a lot of you, when you get your normal tax bill, you'll just think, okay, this is a copy of the original, went to my lender. Please take a look at them, because these do incur fees, and they can become a lien. And for the most part, your existing lender doesn't pay these. And I know that sounds weird, but they can. But it can leave you in a shortfall position if you submit it to your lender. A, there's a chance that they won't get it and get it paid on time, which means you'll get a penalty or more. And B, it could put your impound account out of balance a little bit. Generally, these bills are fairly small. And a good example, John, I'm sure you've seen them all the time. John buys a house for $250,000 from me, and I previously owned the house, and my tax basis was $150,000. So out comes the tax bill, and it's still based on $150,000. John's lender pays the bill for $150,000, and then there's kind of a one-time catch-up where they send a bill to John and says, hey, by next year we'll have it caught up, but you need to pay the difference this year. You owe us $300. And my suggestion to you is just pay it yourself. Just pay the bill, get it paid in, it's kind of a one and done deal. And then, going forward, your lender will have it included in their taxes. So those are coming out. I don't know if anybody else has seen those as well, but it reminded me. I had a couple clients this week call and say, "Hey, what do I do with this thing?" And I said, "You just pay it if you can." So, are you getting those on your end?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So they're kind of a nuisance bill, but I think that people just look at them and think, "Oh, my lender will pay it," and then they don't pay it. So that is something to deal with as well.
Something else to scratch a check for.
Yeah, because after
it is tax deductible.
Sure. Oh, right.
It's property taxes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for deductions, I'll be happy. You pay me $1, I'll write your receipt for it. You can write off 15 cents. That's a tax deduction. Anybody who's looking for more deductions this year, I am happy to bill you, and you can take the deduction. I will pay the tax on your income. Don't worry about it. Hey, speaking of taxes and income, anybody else catch this? And I might have caught it in one of the local news. I actually follow these guys, this Icon Aircraft. I follow them on Facebook, and I actually saw their plane up at Lake Tahoe. God, I want to say that was probably, that had to have been 4. It was up there at the Wood Boat Show, there on North Shore, and they had this plane sitting out there. I bet you that was 4 years ago now, and it was the coolest thing because the wings were folded up, and it was a part boat, part plane, basically an amphibious plane which you could land on the water. And they had one sitting up at Lake Tahoe, and it was obviously just kind of a mock-up at the time. And it was just so intriguing to me because one of the biggest pains in the rear for owning, anything, but particularly an aircraft, is where do you keep it? And what do you do? Because let's be honest, they sit on the ground 99.9% of the time. The sun erodes them, or you got to pay someone to put it in their hangar, and it's just expensive. This one always appealed to me because you can fold the wings up, put it on a trailer, drive it home, and put it in your garage. And for those of us that live near water, you could actually drive it. In this case, you could drive it out to Folsom Lake, put it in the water, and take off out of the water. This is kind of a cool concept, but this has been going on for a while. But they just announced, May 14th, Icon Aircraft announced it will relocate to the city of Vacaville in Northern California, approximately 50 miles. We don't need to know. We know where Vacaville is. Beginning in the first quarter of 2015, the company will begin operating a 140,000 square foot facility adjacent to the Vacaville Airport. Those of you might know it as the Nut Tree Airport. Icon intends to consolidate aircraft manufacturing, sales, training, service, and corporate headquarters to the new location. And they have been looking all over the country for a place to do this. Economic impact on the region has been independently estimated to exceed $350 million.
Yeah, that's great news for the area.
That is huge, huge. And if anybody of you are familiar with Cessna aircraft or Textron, Cessna has been back in the Wichita area forever, and you look at all of the suppliers that are in that industry, the guys that makes the little screws and everything. It's like a magnet. Once one major user tenant comes, like the Kings coming to the arena or you name it, everything follows it. All the suppliers and everything. So you get what's going to be a major facility in Vacaville at the Nut Tree Airport. That's just part one. I mean, maybe in the $350 million they've estimated other things, but this is going to be like a gigantic magnet. It's just going to suck other businesses right in next to it. People that want to, supply them with materials or related materials or want to teach you. I mean, it's going to be huge, and it just with all of the negative news of companies leaving California. This is a big one, and I'm thrilled. It's going to be cool, and I cannot wait for them to get this product off the ground and literally off the ground and get going. So congratulations to people down there, and that's an area, Vacaville, that has not had some good news lately as far as they've been in the news over bankruptcies and other things. This is good for them. So if you want to get a job in the airplane building construction business, you might want to keep your left eye on the Vacaville area over the next little bit.
Hey, Jeff, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you purchased any of these bonds lately?
Which bonds?
These are bonds backed by loans to buyers of Lamborghinis and Bentleys.
Well, I'd rather buy the bond than the car.
Did you catch that? So the worlds of high finance and high-end cars intersected Wednesday as investors grabbed bonds backed by loans to buyers of Lamborghinis and Bentleys.
So I saw the answer to your question is no. I have not purchased any of those bonds, and no, I have not seen that. Although I did see in the paper the other day a picture of what was the most wickedly looking front end grill. Maybe that was one of the cars. I'm not sure
that's
it was
the one, the Lamborghini Veneno.
Yeah. So, but I didn't catch the article. I guess I assumed it was bonds to the manufacturer of the automobile, but you're telling me it's bonds to the people that are financing them?
Yeah, backed up by the loans themselves. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We sell bonds to mortgages on people's houses, and people's houses are less expensive than some of these. How much is that car, for example?
That car itself, I'm not sure. It doesn't show a price tag, but I do know that the U.S. Lamborghini sales climbed to 644 cars last year from 306 the previous year.
Yeah, so you're looking at a vehicle that's, well, we know it's more than $1 million, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, we sell bonds to finance people's houses at $150,000. Why would I guess. Although I think I know where to find the house in case people stop paying. I'm not sure I always know where to find the car if the payment went bad. But no, I didn't catch that. So that's pretty cool. There's a secondary market for financing of multi-million-dollar vehicles, huh?
Yeah. They're also saying that a Lamborghini Aventador can cost more than $400,000. What do you think the interest rate they're paying on a loan for an Lamborghini?
Well, you're going to have a very high-quality borrower,
right?
And I'm guessing you're going to have a fairly large down payment, but it's still an automobile.
You're tracking right on it.
Am I?
Yep.
So is it going to be? Is it similar to mortgages, like 5 or 6%?
Yeah, actually 3.84% average interest rate on a Lamborghini, and it does. It talks about just a high-end borrower and the loss on high-end vehicles like that, very minimal for people not making payments.
Yeah, so think about that. People are willing to – there's a secondary market to buy investment-grade notes on high-end cars, and yet they're only going to get – I mean, that's the note rate. That's not even what the investor gets. They get less than that. So
right.
People will put in to make a return of probably 2.5 to 3% on a car. That's something that you could put in a shipping crate and ship it somewhere you never find it again, if that was your intention. That's interesting. That tells you how desperate people are to get returns on their money right now. Interesting. No, I didn't catch that, John. That's a good one.
Interesting article for sure.
Yeah. Hey, let's. How are we doing on time? We probably got to take another break here real quick. You got another quiz question for us?
I do. So, right. The second quiz question of the day. Our friend Warren Buffett with Berkshire Hathaway.
I heard of him.
What company did he recently purchase this month? It's a Silicon Valley-based company. What is his company, and he recently purchased?
Oh, you know what? There's
a couple offices in and around Sacramento and Northern California area, but Silicon Valley-based.
I saw the picture of him, but I know what? That's a good one. I don't know the answer to that one. I'll have to think about that, too. Okay, 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. The text machine not working today, so give us a call. We'll take a couple winners. How about some Round Table Pizza or some Sacramento Rivercats baseball? #1 team in the Pacific Coast League. You can get out and check them out. Your choice, 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. John, sitting down there with your quiz question. What did Berkshire Hathaway buy out of the Silicon Valley this week? We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
There we go. Trying to write a check out real quick and get these bills paid for these taxes before. I'm just kidding you. Hey, we got welcome back. Final segment of the day. We had a quiz question before the break. Warren Buffett was in the Bay Area. It sounds like doing something, and I don't know what it was, John. What was he buying?
Did we get an answer, Chris? We have not got an answer yet.
Oh, okay, then throw it out there again. Then that's fine.
Yeah. So Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway purchases a company based out of Silicon Valley this week, and I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with the real estate industry. What company did he buy?
Okay, we'll let that hang out there a little bit. I would not have got that. I think you threw me off with the Silicon Valley thing. I was thinking Apple Jr. or something. I wasn't thinking non-related to the Silicon Valley
This
world.
has to do with home services.
Okay, So we'll let that go a little bit too for some tickets to some Sacramento Rivercats baseball. I did see, speaking of buying and selling, this add to the list of things I did not know, which is a huge list. It's actually easier for me to tell you what I do know in about 15 seconds. The WWEI is a publicly traded company. Do you know what WWEI is, John?
I do not.
I do.
World. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
It's the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yes, World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated. Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon. I've heard of him. I didn't know his son-in-law is starting to run the company. Do you know who his son-in-law is, Chris?
Paul Levesque, also known as Triple H.
Triple H. That's right. Is married to Stephanie McMahon. The WWE is a publicly traded company. I did not know that. Didn't have a good day on Friday. Stock plummeted 44%. Mr. McMahon apparently is a great organizer of wrestling events, but not such a good negotiator with TV companies. I guess when the people saw his new deal with Comcast, NBC Universal, they were not particularly thrilled with his ability to get a deal done for television. So stock dropped 44%. And I'm going to be very honest here. Who in the hell is watching WWE still?
Me.
I mean,
Apparently, Chris is watching it.
I mean, I guess it's no different than any other reality TV that's not reality. One of my favorite shows is Pawn Stars, and I recognize now that there's absolutely nothing real about Pawn Stars, probably, other than I'm sure the products are. I think some of the products are real that they come in. I see them quite often out looking for people to bring in unique items, but I think if you actually walk into the store, you will not, in fact, see any of those guys working there. And I did track down one of the items one time. They were trying to sell this $1 billion guitar, and it turns out that the guitar was already owned by the guy who was the expert. But nonetheless, I'm sure WWE's on the same lines as the rest of the reality TV shows.
Huh.
But they, I did not know they were publicly traded. So.
You know what I didn't know? We have a little horse race going on today.
Was that right?
Yeah. And Chrome is the favorite again. But
I knew that.
Preakness Stakes is on today. What I didn't know is, at the end, and whoever wins it gets this nice trophy.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, the Woodland Lawn vase, created by Tiffany & Company in 1860, is presented to the Preakness winner, but they don't get to keep it. What do you think about that? So it's valued at more than $1 million. It's considered the most valuable trophy in American sports. So instead, they get to take home a smaller sterling replica valued at $30,000.
Well, it's kind of like the Stanley Cup, right? I mean, you get to carry it around a little bit,
right.
Take some pictures with it, but it ends up back with the groups. That makes sense. I mean, they're going to do produce $1 billion trophy every year. Come on.
Right. No, I
I'd
understand.
rather have a check for the $1 million.
Well, you're going to get $900,000 for the winner, plus the $30,000 trophy.
Well, that's a scam. The last week's race, the last one was $1.1 million. I'd be like, hey, this is competition. Keep up the dollar amounts here for me, if you would. Hey, speaking of dollars, this was a This has been, well, I shouldn't say just a phenomenal week, although this week seems to be kind of near the point of. I hope it's not the bottom. I did a little email out to people who follow me this weekend, and the subject line was, "Okay, I was wrong," which is I usually start there anyway because I've been married for a long time. I always start with, "Okay, I'm wrong."
Good
usually
boy.
things go pretty well after that. And I was wrong. I mean, rates have baffled the experts, whatever an expert means, or perceived expert, and mortgage rates are on a 7-month low right now. And honestly, I would have bet you an enormous amount of cheeseburgers if we'd have bet at the end of last year that rates would be either near 4 or near 6 on a 30-year fixed. I would have taken the 6 bet all day long, and we are closer to the near 4. So 7-month slide in rates. The Treasury and the different bills are down. I think the 10-year T was running around 3.1 at the beginning of the year. Maybe 3.2 is down just right around 2.5 now. And then the market has just kind of been rolling along, and it really kind of caught a lot of people off guard. I don't think it's not to the point where you say, okay, we're in another refinance rally, because certainly you come off of parts of 2013 where rates were in the low to mid 3s for a 30-year fixed, and so that's not going to help much with picking up the activity on the refinances. But there's the side note that I keep trying to get out to people is that a lot of you who bought a house, a couple 3 years ago, or maybe refinanced and got stuck with either in an FHA loan or you have PMI, private mortgage insurance, not only are the rates down, but the house values are up, and in some cases they're up a lot. And some of you that bought a short sale, you think about this. Remember back, John, it's hard to almost remember now. You don't see a lot of short sales anymore. Remember when some of the original short sales started, some of those people went into contract maybe middle of 2012 and didn't close until sometime in 2013.
Yep.
So you set a price, you established a price in some cases 6 to 9 months before you actually closed. So the actual value appreciated while you were in escrow, and then certainly after you've closed. So some of you have established a price for that house you bought over 2 years ago. And there's been a lot of activity in the last 2 years, in particular a lot of pickup in value. So you do need to take a quick look, even as just a cursory glance, and see, do I possibly have a way of getting out of this PMI payments? And I looked at a couple of them this week, and the PMI was almost, in some cases, almost $400 a month. So remember, there's a couple ways you can get out of PMI. If you have a conventional financed loan, you may be able to just provide your existing lender with a copy of an appraisal and says, hey, I'd like to have the PMI removed. Some of them, have a initial waiting period of a year, maybe even 2. But if you've got a really decent rate right now, or something that's close to where the market is, you don't need to pay all that expense to go through refinancing. You could just pay to have an appraisal done and provide it to your lender. So you should check with them on that.
Yeah, let me add something to that, because I had that here because I'm looking at it a lot lately. But Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac typically require the loan to be seasoned at least 2 years, and the borrower have an acceptable payment history, and that the LTV based on current appraisal is 75% or lower if less than 5 years have elapsed since the original loan, or 80% if you're 5 years or more. So if you're at 2 years, been making payments on time, and you feel like you have 75%, then that is an opportunity to submit a request to have your MI canceled. And if you're over 5 years, you have a greater opportunity. But with rates going up, with values going up and rates coming down, the opportunities are huge right now.
Yeah, now what John's referring to is having your existing lender just remove the PMI. There's nothing that prevents you from doing a flat-out refinance.
Correct.
So if you're not at 75% and you have the equity you need, and like John said, you're current on your payments, you could just refinance and go somewhere else. You don't have to stick with your existing lender and wait out that period, because by the time you wait out that period, the rates may not be there.
Correct.
Of course, if you're just removing PMI and you've got a good rate, it's not not that big of a deal. But
since we're on the mortgage insurance, one of the things I did a couple times this past month is a 95% refinance with no mortgage insurance. Basically, there's what's called lender-paid mortgage insurance. Rate was better, terms were better, and now the payment is deductible versus having an FHA loan with mortgage insurance. So even at a 95%, I think the rate was in the mid-4s.
And that was with no monthly PMI.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a really good alternative that gets overlooked a lot, because if you're looking at the tax basis at the end of the year, the PMI I'm not sure if it's for everybody, or at least for most people, is not a deduction.
Correct.
So if you're going to pay something, you're better off to pay a little higher note rate and no PMI, because the interest is deductible in most cases. So there's a nice little combination there of a little swap off. You can also, we've looked at some other cases where you can pay. I've got a few people that are right down kind of near the 85% loan to value mark. You can also pay a one-time fee. The borrower can pay a one-time fee, and it's not tremendously expensive. It's usually a point or point and a quarter, and you can buy the PMI out. You can just pay one fee and not have to deal with it. So there's a lot of ways to get around, paying that on a monthly basis. I did see this week that this is causing a little bit of a stir. We'll talk about it some more next week too. But Mel Watt, the newly installed overseer of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, said he thinks that Fannie and Freddie are being too tough on people, and some of their new proposals to require larger down payments and stricter underwriting rules are hurting the business. And so there is a move on to kind of back off a little bit on some of the tough rules that are going on in the mortgage business, and particularly those that are planned to come.
Right.
So a lot of the changes that they're referring to have not yet taken effect, and they may not. And I'm in favor of common sense underwriting. I'm not in favor of going back to where we were. As much as the mortgage industry, everybody thinks they made a gazillion dollars, and they did, but they gave back $1.5 billion in lawsuits. I don't want to go backwards. to the stated income days. That's not a good solution. But common sense underwriting is certainly would be very, very helpful, or more common sense. So we'll see how that works out, because they don't like the way the mortgage industry is or the home buying is going right now. It's still too slow for them. They want to see if we can change that a little bit as well. So good week for rates. If you're interested in looking at buying something or reverse mortgage or maybe refinancing, you can find John during the week at johnfod.com or jefftarbell.com. The Talkin' Money Facebook page has this show rebroadcast for you on podcast every week, so you can go back and listen to the parts that didn't make any sense, which would be everything from the beginning to right now. And you can re-listen to that as well. I thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch up with you next Saturday, buddy. John, thank you very much. And we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend and be cool. Aloha.